Alira walked through the deep snow with her small child held close in her arms. The wind howled like a wild beast, pushing against her body again and again. She came from a warm forest world where snow was rare, so this planet felt like a punishment from the stars. But she kept moving. She had no other choice. Her child's breathing was weak, and every step mattered. The sky was dark and heavy, full of fast clouds that moved like rushing water. The storm was growing stronger. Alira looked around and saw nothing but empty white land. No trees, no hills, no shapes, only endless ice. She felt fear rise in her heart, but she pushed it down because her child needed her to stay calm. Their small shelter, made from broken metal pieces of their crash pod, was already far behind. The roof had collapsed when the storm hit. The temperature dropped too fast. She tried to fix it, but the wind tore everything apart. Now she was outside, searching for any sign of help. She pressed a small beacon button on her wrist device. A soft blue light blinked. That light was the only hope she had left. The beacon sent a signal into the sky, calling anyone who could hear, but it had been hours. No reply came. No ship. No voice. No movement. Her child shivered lightly. Alira opened her cloak and wrapped him tighter, sharing her warmth. "Stay with me," she whispered. Her child blinked slowly, tired but trusting. That small blink gave her strength. She kept walking until she reached a small rise in the ice.
It's Rob.
There she could see a wide, frozen valley. Snow blew across it like white smoke. The view was both beautiful and frightening. She scanned the land for anything: lights, structures, movement, but there was nothing. A sudden wind blast forced her to kneel. Ice crystals hit her face like tiny needles. Her vision blurred for a moment. When she opened her eyes again, she noticed something strange in the snow ahead. At first, it looked like a dim reflection. Then she realized it was a faint metallic glow. Hope filled her heart. She moved toward it quickly. The glowing object seemed half buried in the ice, like it had fallen from the sky long ago. It was round and smooth, with soft light pulsing from inside. She did not know what it was, but she knew it was not natural. Maybe it was technology. Maybe it could help. Alira brushed the snow off the surface. The light grew brighter. Her wrist beacon reacted with a soft beep. She looked at its screen, confused. The beacon showed a strange signal. Not a rescue ship. Something else. Something powerful. Before she could understand it, the ground shook slightly. A deep vibration traveled through the ice. Her heart raced. She held her child closer. The glowing object pulsed again, stronger this time, as if it sensed her presence. She felt her strength slipping away. The cold reached deeper into her body. Her legs trembled. Her breath became shallow. The storm grew louder. She tried to stand straight, but her balance was fading. The light from the object became the only thing she could see clearly. It felt warm, even through the ice. Her body leaned forward, almost pulled by the light. She whispered one last message. To her child, a soft promise that she would never leave him. But the cold took her faster than she expected. Her vision dimmed. Her knees touched the snow. She fell gently beside the glowing object, still holding her child wrapped in her arms. The storm roared above them, and everything turned silent inside her mind. Alira opened her eyes slowly. At first, she could not see clearly. The world around her was warm, quiet, and strangely bright. The cold from the frozen planet had gone, but it was replaced with confusion. She was lying on a soft surface, far different from the ice and snow. Her child was gone. Panic gripped her chest. She tried to sit up, but her body felt heavy and weak. Every muscle ached. She looked around the room. The walls were smooth, white, and glowing with a soft light. Strange objects sat on tables, blinking, with lights she did not understand. A door at the far end of the room opened slowly, and a man appeared. He was tall, with short brown hair and calm eyes. "Please, don't be afraid," the man said gently. "You are safe here." Alira's heart raced. "Where, my child?" she asked, her voice shaking. She tried to stand, but her legs wobbled. The man moved closer, slowly, showing he meant no harm. "I found only you," he said quietly. "I saw you in the storm. I brought you here to safety." Alira's mind swirled. She could not understand how she had moved from the frozen planet to this place. Everything was a blur, but the warmth, the safety, it felt real. She clutched her arms around herself, trying to hold the memory of her child in her mind. The man noticed the small alien device still glowing faintly on her chest. "What is this?" he asked, curious. When Alira saw him touch it, a soft light shot up from the device. It projected a small holographic map of the snowy valley, the same place where she collapsed. A dark shape moved slowly across the ice. Her eyes widened. She gasped. That is him," she whispered. "My child, the hunter machine. It took him." The man stepped back, stunned. "Hunter machine?" he asked. "I don't understand." "Who took him?" Alira shook her head, trying to explain. "It is a machine. It hunts children like him, special children. It will not stop until it has him." She could feel tears forming, but she swallowed them. She had survived the storm, but now she felt helpless again. The man's expression changed. "We will find him," he said firmly. "I don't know what this machine is or why it took him, but we will go after it. I promise." Alira stared at him, unsure if she could trust anyone again. But there was something in his eyes, a determination that felt different from the strangers she had seen on her world. She felt a small spark of hope. The man pulled a small device from his pocket. It was like nothing Alira had ever seen. "This will help us track it," he said, pressing a few buttons. The glowing map grew larger, showing a trail through the frozen planet's surface, as if it had never left. Alira studied the trail carefully. "It moves fast," she said. "We must hurry before it reaches the next world." The man nodded. "We leave now," he said. "We will need speed and we will need courage." Alira took a deep breath. She still did not know how she had survived or how her child was still alive, but she knew one thing: she could not give up. Not now, not ever. She clenched her fists, holding the memory of her child tightly in her heart. The glowing device pulsed, stronger, almost as if it knew she was ready. Together, Alira and the man stepped through a large doorway at the end of the room. Beyond it, strange technology hummed and lights flashed. A small spacecraft waited silently, ready to take them back to the frozen world. The wind howled far below in the icy valley, carrying whispers of the storm that had almost taken her child. Alira felt a mix of fear and determination. She had survived once. She would survive again, and she would save her child, no matter the cost. The journey was about to begin. Asterisk. Alira's heart pounded as she approached the frozen chamber. The hunter machine struggled against the narrow ice walls, metal limbs scraping loudly against the frozen stone. Every sound echoed through the canyon. Her child was somewhere inside, and she could feel him calling silently in her mind. She tightened her grip on the glowing device. Ethan whispered beside her, "We need to be careful. It can sense movement and heat. Any sudden step, and it might panic." Alira nodded. She swallowed her fear and focused. The glowing device pulsed in her hand, casting soft light across the ice. It seemed to guide them, pointing toward the center of the chamber. The machine's sensors blinked rapidly, scanning for heat. Alira's breath came in short gasps, but she did not move too fast. She remembered every lesson from the storm. Patience, caution, determination. Her child's life depended on it. Suddenly, a small opening appeared in the machine's armor. Hatch on its side, Alira's eyes widened. "That's it," she whispered. "That's where he is." Ethan studied the opening. "We can reach him, but we must be precise. One wrong move, and the machine will react." Alira stepped closer. The device pulsed brighter, almost like it was responding to her resolve. She reached through the small hatch and felt something soft her child's tiny hand. Relief and fear collided in her chest. She held him carefully, wrapping him tightly in her arms. The hunter machine twitched, sensing the movement. Its metal body shook violently. Alira froze, letting Ethan signal her. He pressed a small button on his device, sending a pulse that distracted. The machine's sensors now was the chance. Alira moved slowly backward, carrying her child. Every step was careful, every movement measured. The glowing device lit the path, confusing the machine further. Suddenly, the ice beneath their feet cracked with a loud sound. The machine turned sharply, metal claws scraping the walls. Alira's heart leaped. She held her child closer. Ethan shouted, "Keep moving." Almost there. The chamber narrowed even more. The machine's movements became slower and more desperate. Alira and Ethan used the glowing device to create a soft energy shield, diverting the machine's attention. Step by step, they moved toward the exit. Alira's child stirred, shivering but alive. She whispered softly, "It's okay, little one. Mommy is here. We will get you home." His tiny fingers clutched hers, giving her strength she did not know she had. The hunter machine tried to follow them, but the narrow exit was too small. Its powerful body could not move quickly, and the ice walls blocked its escape. Alira and Ethan slipped through the last opening, leaving the machine trapped inside the chamber. Outside, the storm still raged, but they were safe for a moment. Alira hugged her child tightly, tears freezing slightly on her cheeks. Ethan smiled, exhausted but relieved. "We did it," he said quietly. "You're safe now." Alira looked at him with gratitude. "We did it together. I couldn't have done it alone." The glowing device pulsed one last time, almost like it was satisfied. Alira felt a wave of warmth. Her child was alive. The hunter machine had been stopped, at least for now. She took a deep breath, holding her child close. The frozen valley stretched around them, harsh and dangerous, but she had hope. She had survived, she had fought, and she had won. And now, the real journey returning home was about to begin. The storm howled across the frozen valley. Snow and ice swirling in violent gusts. Alira held her child tightly, wrapping him in her cloak to keep him warm. The glowing device pulsed in her hand, pointing the way back toward the ship. Every step was difficult, the wind pressing against them like a solid wall. Ethan moved beside her, scanning the horizon. "We must hurry," he said, shouting over the roar of the storm. "The hunter machine is still active. It will try to escape the chamber soon." Alira's heart raced. She had just rescued her child, but the danger was not over. The machine was trapped for now, but it was powerful and clever. She could feel its presence somewhere in the valley, like a shadow hunting them through the storm. They reached the edge of the canyon, where the frozen river stretched like a silver ribbon. The wind was strongest here, whipping snow into their faces. Alira stumbled, but Ethan caught her, steadying them both. The child shivered in her arms, and she whispered, "Hold on, little one. We are almost safe." The glowing device pulsed. Rapidly, Alira glanced down and saw a small projection appear above it, a path through the storm. The device seemed to know the safest route, guiding them step by step. She felt a small spark of hope. Suddenly, a loud metallic roar echoed through the valley. The hunter machine had freed itself from the chamber. Its metal body cut through the ice like a predator, moving faster than they had imagined. Alira gasped. The device's light pulsed even stronger, almost like it was warning them. Ethan grabbed her arm. "Run. Follow the device." They sprinted. Across the frozen river, ice cracking slightly under their feet. Alira held her child tightly, keeping him low against her chest. Each step was a battle against the storm, against the snow that tried to push them back. The hunter machine gained ground, its sensors glowing red in the storm. Alira's breath came in sharp gasps, but she refused to slow down. She thought of her child, his tiny hands trusting hers, and her determination grew stronger. The glowing device lit the path, creating a soft corridor of light through the swirling snow. The hunter machine roared again, metal scraping against ice, but the narrow path made it hard to move quickly. Ethan glanced at Alira. "We can make it just a little farther." The spacecraft appeared in the distance, lights cutting through the storm like beacons. Alira felt a surge of relief, but she knew they were not safe yet. The hunter machine was fast, and the storm could easily make them slip. They reached the ship's ramp. Ethan helped Alira step inside, then grabbed the child. The warm interior felt like a miracle after the freezing storm. Alira collapsed onto a seat, clutching the glowing device. Her child was safe, shivering, but alive. The hunter machine slammed against the canyon walls outside, metal screeching. Alira watched through the viewport as it tried to follow, but the narrow canyon and the ship's position blocked it. The storm whipped around it, slowing it down. Ethan sealed the ramp. "We're clear for now," he said, breathing heavily. "We made it." Alira hugged her child close, tears freezing on her cheeks. She whispered softly, "You are safe now. Mommy will never let anything happen to you again." The glowing device pulsed one last time, almost like it was satisfied. Alira realized it had guided them not just through the storm, but through danger itself. Outside, the storm raged on, but inside the ship, they were alive. The hunter machine would not give up, but Alira and Ethan had survived this battle. And now, with her child safe, they could plan their next move. The journey home had begun, but the galaxy was still full of challenges. And Alira knew one thing. For certain, as long as humans and her resolve stood together, hope could survive even in the harshest storms. The spacecraft flew low over the frozen valley, snow and ice still whipping through the air. Alira held her child close, checking that he was warm and safe. The glowing device rested on the dashboard, pulsing softly. It had guided them through the storm, but Alira knew the danger was not over. Ethan stared at the holographic map. "The hunter machine is still moving," he said. "It hasn't given up. It's tracking us, and it's faster than we thought." Alira's heart clenched. Her child stirred in her arms, weak but alive. She whispered, "We will not let it take you again. I promise." The device pulsed suddenly, sending a wave of light across the cockpit. Alira realized it was detecting the hunter machine closing in. Outside, through the viewport, she could see a dark shape moving swiftly across the snow. Cutting through the blizzard like a predator, Ethan grabbed the controls. "We need to act fast. It's coming for us directly now. We can't outrun it." "Forever," Alira nodded. Her mind raced. The hunter machine was intelligent. He could learn, adapt, and predict their movements. But humans had one advantage it could not understand. "Creativity, Ethan," she said. Gripping the glowing device, "We need to trap it again. But this time, we need a plan it won't expect." Ethan looked at her, waiting. "What do you suggest?" Alira studied the valley below. There was a narrow ice canyon near a frozen crater. They could lead the hunter machine there. The confined space would limit its speed. But the tricky part was the craterlet had jagged ice pillars and hidden crevasses. The machine could be damaged, but they had to be precise. "We lure it," Alira said. "The device will guide it. Then we hit it where it cannot move." Ethan nodded. "All right, let's do it." They flew low, skimming over ice cliffs, guiding the glowing device's light toward the canyon. The hunter machine saw the light and followed, sensors glowing red in the blizzard. Alira held her child tightly, whispering calm words, keeping him close to her heart. The canyon appeared ahead, narrow and dangerous. The hunter machine entered, moving fast but constrained by the walls. Alira and Ethan watched from above, controlling the ship's position. The glowing device pulsed wildly, projecting a field of energy that confused the machine's sensors. Metal. Claws scraped against ice. The hunter machine twisted and turned, but the canyon's walls blocked its movement. The jagged ice pillars created natural traps. Alira felt a surge of hope. This was the moment. "Now," she whispered to Ethan. He activated the ship's energy pulse, a soft wave of light that pushed the machine against the ice walls. Sparks flew, but the hunter machine was trapped. Struggling to move in the narrow space, Alira held her child close, feeling his tiny heartbeat. He was safe, at last. The glowing device pulsed one final time, its energy wave stabilizing the machine, preventing it from escaping. Ethan smiled, exhausted but relieved. "We did it," he said. "It cannot follow us now." Alira exhaled deeply, tears freezing on her cheeks. She hugged her child tightly. "You're safe," she whispered. "Nothing can take you from me again." Outside, the storm still raged, but they had survived the hunter machine's attack. Alira realized something powerful. Humans, even small and vulnerable, could face impossible challenges and survive. They could protect hope itself, even in the harshest universe. The journey home had begun, truly this time. The glowing device now pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. Alira felt a wave of warmth and confidence. She had survived. Her child was safe. And humanity's courage had triumphed once again. The galaxy was still full of dangers. But she knew one thing for sure. Together, humans could face any storm. Asterisk. The spacecraft hummed as it lifted off the ground. Alira held the glowing device tightly, her eyes fixed on the holographic map projected in front of her. The trail of the hunter machine stretched across the frozen planet like a silver thread. Every pulse of the device made her heart beat faster. Her child was alive, somewhere, but time was running out. The man, Ethan, adjusted the controls. "This ship can travel faster than anything on this planet," he said, "but we must be careful. The hunter machine is not ordinary. It can sense movement and heat. It will know if we approach." Alira nodded. Fear mixed with determination. She could feel the weight of her child's life pressing on her shoulders. Every second mattered. She glanced at Ethan. "Do you understand what it is?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. Ethan shook his head. "Not fully. A tie. But I know this. Humans survive, and we do not give up. We will outsmart it, somehow." The ship cut through the icy clouds. Outside, the frozen planet stretched endlessly white valleys, jagged cliffs, and blinding storms. The hunter machine's trail glowed faintly in the hologram, like sparks. Scattered across the ice, Lyra's hands tightened around the device. She could almost feel her child's tiny body, cold and trembling, calling to her. Suddenly, the device beeped loudly. The holographic map changed. The hunter machine had moved. Faster, closer. Alira's breath caught. "It knows we are coming," she whispered. Ethan focused. "Then we need to be clever. We cannot chase it directly. We must anticipate where it will go next." He pulled up another layer on the hologram, a pattern of its movements. Unpredictable, but not random. Alira studied it carefully. It moves toward energy sources, she said slowly. Heat, movement. Maybe it is feeding on them, learning from them. Ethan nodded. Then we must create a trap, lead it somewhere. It does not expect. Alira's mind raced. They had no weapons strong enough to fight the hunter machine directly, but the glowing device pulsed in her hand. It reacted to her thoughts, projecting waves of light. Maybe it could help them lure the machine. The ship descended toward a frozen canyon. Alira peered through the cockpit window. Below, massive ice cliffs rose like towers. A river of frozen water wound through the valley. She realized that if they could guide the hunter machine here, the narrow path would slow it down. And maybe they could rescue her child. Ethan landed the ship softly on the ice. They both stepped out, the cold biting at their faces. Alira's eyes darted around. The wind was strong, but they could hear the faint hum of the machine approaching. The glowing device vibrated in her hand, pointing toward a path in the snow. They moved quickly, carefully following the trail. The snow was deep, and each step made them tire, but they could not stop. Every second counted. Suddenly, a shadow passed over them. Alira froze. The hunter machine was close to close. Its metal body reflected the pale light of the icy cliffs. It was enormous, fast, and precise. Her heart pounded. Her child was somewhere inside its grasp, and she had to be brave. Ethan reached for her hand. "We can do this," he said firmly. "We will outsmart it, together." Alira nodded, holding the glowing device to her chest. It pulsed stronger now, almost as if it understood her resolve. The hunt had begun, and somewhere ahead, in the frozen valley, the child waited. The storm whispered around them, carrying both danger and hope. Alira and Ethan moved carefully through the narrow canyon. The ice walls rose like giants on either side, reflecting the pale light from the stormy sky. The snow beneath their boots crunched loudly, but the wind carried most of the sound. The hunter machine was close, and they could feel its presence. Like a shadow pressing against the air, the glowing device pulsed faster in Alira's hand. She followed its light, guiding them through the twists of the canyon. Each turn brought new danger. The canyon was full of hidden ice ridges and sudden drops. One wrong step, and they could fall into a frozen river below. "This way," Alira whispered, pointing toward a narrow pass. The device's light grew brighter, almost like it was urging her forward. Ethan nodded. "Good. If we can get it into the pass, it will have no room to move. That's where we strike." The sound of metal scraping against ice echoed through the canyon. Alira froze. The hunter machine had arrived. She could see it now, massive dark figure, moving with unnatural speed, scanning the ground with its glowing sensors. Every step it took made the ice tremble slightly. Ethan held her arm. "Stay calm. Remember, we don't fight it directly. We guide it." Alira nodded. She remembered her child, wrapped tightly in her memory, and felt a surge of courage. Pressed the glowing device against the ground. A soft wave of light shot out, bouncing along the ice and snow. The hunter machine stopped, its sensors blinking. Then it turned, following the light. "Yes," Alira whispered. They were leading it exactly where they wanted. The canyon narrowed further. The walls pressed close, leaving only a small path for the machine. The storm above raged, sending snow and ice swirling around them. Every pulse of the glowing device made the machine move closer to the trap. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed. The ice beneath their feet shivered. Alira and Ethan froze. The hunter machine's sensors flickered. It had noticed something unusual. "Keep going," Ethan urged. "We're almost there." They moved forward, careful with every step. The canyon's walls formed a natural corridor. At the end, a series of jagged ice pillars created a small chamber. If the machine entered, it would be trapped, unable to turn or escape quickly. The hunter machine followed the light, scanning the narrow path. Alira and Ethan waited, hearts pounding. The snow swirled violently around them. The machine entered the chamber. Its sensors swept the area, calculating, analyzing. But there was no room to maneuver. Alira pressed the glowing device against her chest. Its light expanded, creating a pulsing field of energy. The machine's movement slowed. Its sensors blinked, rapidly confused by the sudden wave. Yes, Alira breathed. The trap was working. The machine struggled in the chamber, pressing against the ice walls. It was powerful, but the canyon's natural design and the glowing device's energy slowed. It down Alira felt a spark of hope. Her child was still alive inside its grasp, and now they had a chance to reach him. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "We've got it where we want. Now we move carefully." Alira nodded. Her fear mixed with determination. She would not fail. She would not let the hunter machine take her child. Every step forward was closer to him. The glowing device pulsed with her resolve, lighting the path ahead. Outside, the storm roared. But inside the icy chamber, Alira felt a moment of control. The trap was set. The hunt was turning in their favor. And somewhere, deep inside the frozen valley, her child waited, unaware that rescue was near.